back.
Well, thank you, Aton, for joining us. Take it away, Sindona.
Hey guys. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm your host, your girlfriend's favorite podcast host, Sindona. Ask her about me. Joined with me is my co-host, Fu. Say what's up.
What's up? And ask your girlfriend about Sindona. She'll be like, is that Fu's cousin? Bet.
Yeah. And joined today, we have a very special guest, my older brother. He is deeply connected spiritually, loves arts and culture, and the coolest older brother anyone could have asked for. I've learned so much from him over the years, and I can't wait to share some of his wisdom and experience with all of you. Say what's up, Aton.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm a huge fan of your podcast.
Yeah.
It's just an honor to finally make it, meet your heroes and all. I'm very humbled and blessed.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Are we role playing?
Are we? No, I'm
okay.
putting on my...
Because I can role play too. Welcome to the show, Aton. Glad to have you on. And honestly, I'm a big fan too, dude. So super excited. I want to get to know more about you. Psych. Not really.
Yeah, I think the audience is very curious to who you are. So why don't you tell them how we know each other?
Well, I grew up with Sindona. We share parents. So, we have our relationship is, you would say we're brothers, right? So
Yeah,
that's how I know
Yeah.
Sindona. And I know Fu because Fu is our cousin. So that's how I know you two.
Yeah.
And of course, from the podcast.
Yeah.
I know you
Yeah.
guys from.
And how long
Yeah.
have we known each other?
You are 35. No, you're turning 35.
Wow.
In a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Sorry to out your age.
Yeah,
So
do you
I'm
wanna-
35.
Do you want to
About-
edit that out just in
okay.
case? That's fine.
Yeah. 35. Yeah, 35 years we've known each other.
Yeah. And it's been, an interesting journey. We have unique childhood experiences. We also have unique perspectives. We don't always see eye to eye.
Yeah.
So
What don't we see eye to eye about?
your belief in the world is very different than mine. Mine is more wooey than yours. Yours is more grounded in hard facts.
Logic.
Emphasis on the hard.
Yeah. Logic, reasoning, evidence, things you can more or less concretely prove is usually how I move through life. But
So you're all about science?
I'm all about hard science. Yeah, I like the facts.
And then Aton's all about black magic.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
going to put a curse on you if this interview goes wrong.
Yeah.
So the duality of the brothers here. Yeah. And how do you think that's affected our relationship?
Well, we just we agree to disagree on a lot of things. But I've noticed from moving throughout life, there's a lot of people are more logic and sciencey. So it's helped me navigate those relationships as well. Sometimes it does feel lonely to see the world the way I do, because it's like when you talk to people, they don't really get what you're saying, or they don't
Yeah. Like
understand
Plato's
where I'm coming from.
Yeah, like Plato's cave allegory,
Yeah.
where you're trying to explain them a better world, but they're not
Yeah.
there yet.
So for people that don't know the Plato's cave allegory, it's
I don't.
you're in a cave and you're watching these shadows move, right? The cave is dark. All you know are these shadows. So you think that these shadows are real life, but if you turn around, you see the machine that's projecting the light and the shadow. So the cave is to basically, you want to get out of the cave and get into the real life, because we're living like in this false illusion, right? Which is very much the philosophy of a lot of like ancient religions, which is life is just an illusion. It's called Maya, and there's something behind the veil of it all. And I do agree and believe in that.
So what was the event that made you escape Plato's cave?
Well, I don't know if you remember, but growing up as a kid, I was very into a lot of woo stuff. I was into like astrology.
Like how old were you?
I remember there was this grocery store called Top Foods, right? And
Word.
I remember in the checkout line there was these little like books that you can buy, and I got one for psychic abilities. I remember that I tried to train myself to be telekinetic into Ben Spoons. I don't know if Sandona remembers this, but I remember that. And then I remember that I got into like numerology and astrology pretty young. I remember going to my classes and be like, hey, let me look up your birth path number, and people will always be interested in like what I learned about it and what I had to say about it. It was always there.
You also always had those origami fortune tellers too.
Right? The cootie catcher?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cootie catcher? Yeah. We always had those going around.
Yeah,
I think that was everybody.
I think that was everyone though.
Yeah.
You don't see kids with those anymore.
No, dude. Because you can do that shit on an iPhone.
Yeah.
But it's always been something there, and our parents have been very spiritual. Our mom is more rooted in Buddhism. Our father was very spiritual too. He was very into Nostradamus, so he would tell me a lot about his predictions and stuff, and got me into like that type of world. So it's always like been there. It wasn't until probably high school to college where I kind of veered off this path because I was just trying to fit in. I knew that a lot of people it was cool to be atheists back then. It was like cool to be into hard facts and science and believe in like rational living. And that was pretty much I feel like it was the darkest time. I was dealing with like depression and stuff. So it wasn't, I mean, whether this spiritual side is true or not, it doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, right? If I'm a better person and I'm happy, that should be the end result and the most important thing.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Do you think that? Well, I think that by the time everyone gets to high school, they drop a lot of things they love. I dropped like cartoons and K-pop because, like you said, I wanted to fit in. So like it was like there's a lot of uncool things that you couldn't like if you wanted to get by in high school. Like anime. You couldn't be an anime club and get by in high school. Sorry. Not back in the day.
Yeah. Was there an anime club?
Yeah, there
at our
was.
high school?
Yeah, there was. They sat near the theater, like
Who the fuck
stage.
was in the anime club?
It's
They
exactly
were-
who you think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They wore capes.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
word.
dressed up sometimes. But like I
Yeah.
loved anime.
But you never hung out with them?
I wasn't cool to. Like I would talk to some of them like, "Hey, can I borrow some videotapes?" And like cuz
Uh-huh.
it was hard to get anime back then. And then like I would like borrow some. But
Oh,
it wasn't
really?
cool to be like an anime. So yeah, I get it. I dropped a lot of things in high school to
Wow.
fit in.
That's
And do you think that
yeah.
caused? You mentioned you had depression there during that time. What was going on there?
Oh, I mean, in high school, I had like I've had like existential crises
Like
throughout my life.
like an identity
Like-
crisis.
No, it was just like I remember being in like junior year, and I remember I was working so hard to get into college, and I was like working so hard with these extracurricular activities and taking honors and AP classes and getting like good grades. But like when I was a junior, I kind of was like, what is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of this? Like, am I just working hard to just get into college and then to just get a job? And like, is that it? Is that life? So I was like struggling with those thoughts at a young age, and trying to figure out, because it was, at least for me, one of my core values has always been intelligence. I've always found myself as a smart person, and I've always valued like learning things. So from seeing the examples in the world and who I was supposed to look up to being smart and rational, like atheism was one of the tenets that they all had, and being like into hard facts and stuff. So I was like, I wanted to be like that. I wanted to be a smart person. So that's why I kind of fell down that trap of not believing anything besides the material world.
Wow. And you came to that realization in high school.
Dang,
I
really?
came to the I thought a lot as a kid. That's why I spent a lot of time alone, because I was like, I had all these thoughts and all these ideas.
And children were being children.
Yeah, children were like, I couldn't really talk about any of these ideas, like psychic stuff. Like I couldn't talk to that about anything, right?
Dang. Wait, so you never talked to your brother about that kind of stuff when you were younger?
Because all he wanted to do was like play video games and like watch music videos and stuff, you know? So it was like not
It's the
that,
same.
but
It's the same thing now.
I was interested in aliens. That was my thing.
Whoa.
My brother was into witches and vampires.
yeah, I loved vampires. I loved witches.
Wait, were you a Twilight guy?
That was after my time.
This is
I
like
was
Buffy,
in college.
Buffy the
Yeah, it was
Vampire
Buffy.
Slayer.
Oh yeah, Buffy the
was my
Vampire
time.
Slayer.
I was into Buffy.
Bewitched.
I also enjoyed Charmed.
Charmed. Not Bewitched. Yeah, Charmed.
Those.
Yeah.
I
The
wasn't into
90s
those.
witchcraft wave.
Yeah, it was the 90s, like The Craft.
Yeah, The Craft.
I watched that. All that. Yeah, the 90s. But then I mean, all that witchcraft craze has come back now, right? It's
Yeah.
full circle.
Do you have you read any like Anne Rice's work? I think you have.
I think I read one of them, but I never finished it. I don't remember which one. I read a lot of I tried to read Stephen King too, but I never finished it as well. Like I remember reading Salem's Lot, which is about vampires.
Yeah.
So I did have like an affinity to like vampires and witches growing up.
Yeah.
But
and Buffy
yeah,
was
I mean,
really
like,
cool.
Buffy was cool. It was an allegory of growing up. It was an allegory of being in high school. You know, once you have sex with a guy, he becomes a monster. That's all he wanted.
Wait,
so
what?
It had, like,
Whoa,
because Buffy had
whoa.
sex with Angel.
Hold on. Let's go back.
Oh, I mean, I didn't
Let's go
see this
back.
one. I didn't read into this when I was a kid.
Yeah,
But yeah.
hold up.
So yeah, Buffy has sex
So there's some
with
gaps in this story right now. So
Buffy has sex with Angel, who's a vampire.
With a soul. He's a vampire. He's a unique vampire.
Yeah.
He's a vampire with a soul. He's cursed with the soul.
And this is-
so he has all this guilt for killing all these humans, right?
This is like season
And-
1, right? Season 1-ish.
Season 1 or season 2.
Yeah.
It's an early season. But the way he loses his soul is if he has one moment of pure happiness. And that moment was when he had sex with Buffy.
So then what happened?
So he becomes a normal vampire again. He becomes evil. Yeah.
So how'd you relate to that? To
I mean, I didn't relate to
So,
that.
I mean, what was your
But that's
takeaway? What was your takeaway?
I just wanted to know what was going on here.
Yeah,
so
how'd you get that? So you
have you rewatched Buffy since then?
Not recently, but maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago.
but you've
Yeah.
re-examined it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a re-examining of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't get that as a kid. Obviously, maybe subconsciously I knew, but like
Yeah.
as an
Interesting.
adult, it was like a rewatch as an adult.
How
that I
many?
saw
How
these.
long was that show?
8,
7.
7.
Because we
I
had
think 6 or 7.
Because we had a other cousin that was like hella into it, and then like just excited to watch it. What days did
Yeah.
it play? Like Tuesdays
Tuesdays or
night?
Wednesdays?
remember.
Yeah, something.
I don't
I remember it
remember.
was a school night,
Yeah,
and then
Yeah.
it's like I couldn't watch it.
yeah.
And
The
then-
intro song was so cool.
It's like super rock and
Yeah.
roll.
Yeah,
Yeah, super rock and roll.
kind of like the Power Rangers. thing,
Yeah.
vibe.
Dude, I remember that.
That was the trend in intro music back then.
She
Edgy.
was so hot too.
Oh,
Was it
she's-
Sarah Michelle?
SMG?
Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar, dude.
I had a big crush on her.
Especially in Cruel Intentions.
Cruel Intentions.
Bro.
Why did we watched that as a kid? Because our cousin had it.
Yeah, that movie's awesome.
I don't get it.
I didn't get it.
I
as a
didn't get
kid.
it. I did not get it.
It's based off a French literary work called Dangerous Liaisons.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a modern retelling of it. and they're just like toxic people manipulating and using
Yeah.
sex
Yeah.
to their advantage for things.
I didn't get it, but
I watched it as an adult, and it's not that great of
It's
a movie.
bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
like the
But yeah,
dialogue,
thinking about it now, I was like, yeah, that's a bad movie.
Yeah.
It's really cheesy.
yeah,
like a little too try hard in the racy stuff.
Yeah.
the racist stuff was cool.
Let's get two girls making. Let's get
Yeah.
Sarah Michelle Gellar and Selma Blair to make out.
Yeah.
That was the lesbian kissing trend was hot back then. I
Yeah.
remember that.
Like Wild Things with Nev Campbell.
Ooh, yeah, it's good stuff.
Remember that,
man.
Aton? You probably don't.
I remember that.
You
yeah.
do?
I don't remember.
Britney and Madonna. Forgetting about Christina. Yeah, I remember that.
Cut to Justin's reaction.
Yeah,
He's just
dude.
standing there.
Yeah, well, I mean, how else can you react?
I don't know. That's a tough spot to be in.
Not
I think-
really. I don't think he cared, dude.
Yeah, I think he's a performer. He's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, either
This
way,
is-
he had to be conscious of like how he was being perceived. So, like him just standing there is probably the only thing he could have really done.
Yeah.
I would have been
But-
like, oh,
Yeah.
oh shit, that is dope.
He should have grabbed whoever. He should have grabbed the next guy and started making out with him.
Whoa.
To be like, I could do it too, Brittany.
That would have been funny. That'd be a funny, like, that should have been like an SNL skit or
Yeah.
something. That would have been funny.
Yeah.
And they just like keep kissing. They'll start kissing like rewards or whatever. Just up each other.
Yeah. Man, what a classic couple.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what other movies defined or shows defined your childhood? I know you were really into Buffy.
Buffy. I think it was really just Buffy.
CW.
Right?
UW.
So you didn't watch the spin-off series Angel?
I did watch it
Yeah.
on and off. It was on and off.
It's like,
it wasn't like,
it's like weird I know this, but I never watched it.
you knew it you knew it by like
Maybe commercials or
yeah. Angel was supposed to
I was
be
just-
a noir show. So it was like, because he's like a detective in LA and he's redeeming himself, which is very noir film tropey. So it was that type of show, which I didn't understand as a kid. So probably why I didn't get into it like Buffy.
yes, it wasn't the same vibe as Buffy. Aesthetically it looked the same, but it was a different vibe.
You watched
Yeah.
it too?
Well, there was only one TV.
Yeah.
So-
this is when TVs were rare. You know,
Yeah,
we didn't.
when
so
we-
now TVs are everywhere.
We had to watch the same thing, and yeah, I was.
You only have one TV in the house, and now there's like motherfucking 4 TVs. How many TVs are in this house?
What?
And there's phones
1,
too, and
2,
computers.
3, yeah,
Yeah,
4. There's
so
4.
many screens in here.
Yeah. What happened to us? TVs got cheaper though, man.
Yeah,
Technology just made everything cheaper. So
Yeah.
we live in a world of excess.
Wow, I know.
But-
Look at this. Eh?
yeah. So I watched like Buffy. I watch a lot of the CW stuff. I remember I tried to watch Dawson's Creek. I didn't understand it.
You were
'cause-
really more into the ethnic shows. And let me say, you were
Whoa,
more into
whoa,
black
whoa,
shows.
whoa, whoa.
I watched a lot of black
You watched
shows.
a lot of
Yeah,
black
like
shows.
the Wayans brothers, Martin,
Moesha.
Living Color, Moesha,
Oh, Moesha.
the Parkers,
Parkers.
kind of. Moesha, I started in the beginning, but then I kind of fell off it. I remember that.
Yeah.
But Family Matters. I remember I loved Family
Matters. That's
yes.
the one. Me and my family watched a lot. Family Matters, and then fucking Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh yeah, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
We loved it.
Why didn't he want me?
Damn. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. But I guess you didn't define very much with the white shows, though.
Yeah, like Dawson's Creek. I remember I tried to watch it because our cousin was watching it too, right? But
Yeah.
But you love Boy Meets World.
I love women.
oh yeah, well that was more diverse.
They
than
tried.
Dawson's
They had
Creek.
Angela.
Well, they had Angela. Who else?
And I think it was also they talked normal. They talked like how I understood because like Dawson's Creek was they were trying too hard to be smart.
Yeah.
like the words right, and I didn't understand it. And the same with like Gilmore Girls, right? They talk too fast. I was like, huh? I didn't get it either.
Oh, if there's one show I hate, it's Gilmore Girls, dude. It's because fucking
People love Gilmore Girls.
dude, Sabrina, she's like watched it every year or something, man. I just can't. the humor's, it's not funny to me. I was like, was that,
Damn.
you know, they have their little quips. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, that was the
joke.
That was a joke.
That was
Like, yeah, and they're so dramatic, and they're like, oh man.
Melissa McCartney, though, that was her star.
Yeah, she's like, well, I forget her name in there. She has
Suki St.
Yeah, she has-
James. I tried watching it recently. That's how I know.
yeah, because she has. I was like, her name's Suki, because I kept thinking the Asian girl Suki. You know what I mean?
No. No. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what? So confusing. It's a terrible show, man. I hate it. I hate it.
I also used to love legal dramas. The
Oh,
Practice
yeah.
was my favorite. I don't think my brother enjoyed me watching The Practice.
Yeah,
but I watched The Practice.
watched you watch it. I wasn't into heavy dialogue stuff back then.
It was just so good. It was so dramatic. I loved it.
Yeah. Boston Legal.
Yeah, the spin-off.
Yeah, that one was
Um,
cool.
It wasn't until like probably high school, college when I started getting to Asian dramas. That's when I pivoted to Asian
Yeah,
dramas.
I think when you get back into college is when you can start reliking the stuff you dropped in high school. It's okay to be weird once you get college because you find other weird people that like the same thing, and it's okay.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, like, I guess in high school I never knew my Asian. I never really explored that. And I guess in college I was exploring like Asian stuff. So I got heavily into, Asian dramas.
Yeah.
So I would watch a lot of J dramas. I didn't get into Korean dramas because they were just long. J dramas are shorter, so they're easier to watch.
More melodramatic.
Yeah.
I remember we were always into Asian music on some level.
K-pop.
Yeah.
I wasn't really that into it like you. I was more like I was just watching you watch it.
Oh, yeah.
You were into it. You were into like Boa. I remember that. I didn't have a K-pop group I liked.
You didn't
I
stand
remember.
anyone back then?
I mean, I got into 21 after college. It was after college.
Yeah.
And I got into 21. Then that got me into Big Bang.
Yeah, Big Bang.
Is Big Bang the one where the one guy's from here?
That's
No,
2
that's 2
p.m.
p.m. J Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I know some K-pop, bro.
what was I gonna say? But like, yeah. So like in high school, I kind of fell off like the spiritual path, even though it was always there. It was like ingrained with. I remember I always enjoyed going to temple. I would go. My brother wouldn't go because I wanted to go to
I
temple.
did
Oh,
not
really?
enjoy going to temple. I went out of obligation. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think I started rediscovering spirituality was actually through my brother, because he like showed me this thing called The Secret, and he was really into it. He was really into this thing called The Secret.
Yeah, the law of attraction. Hey, Oprah Winfrey was into it, so I was into it.
Well, Oprah's very spiritual herself.
Is she?
Yeah, she always. There was an interview I watched, and she says, I always ask people, especially if they're in a job interview, like, what's your spiritual practice? Not your spiritual belief, but what do you do that gets you connected to whatever you want to believe?
How do you
And I was
answer
like,
that?
oh. I mean, I have a practice. I meditate. I pray. Sometimes I do mantra work. I take plant medicine. Yeah, that's how I would answer it.
Whoa. That's amazing. We're having some technical difficulties here. Can you still hear me though, Aton?
I can hear you, but yeah, the camera went off.
Well, that sounds interesting. Can you I mean, how was your high school experience? Was it
Was it pleasant? Was it
Yeah,
unpleasant?
yeah.
I don't really think about it anymore.
yeah?
I remember I did
mean-
not enjoy it. Daria.
I'm not
Yeah,
asking
Daria
if
was
you-
another influence for me. So I had like a very Daria lens in high school.
Oh yeah.
I love Daria, and I think I got that from you.
Yeah, Daria was really
Very
good.
nihilistic. Yeah, like just a real way of looking at the world in a funny
Yeah.
cartoon.
because what I related with her was being too smart for her own good, which I mean now I see it, but before I didn't see it that way.
Yeah.
But like I was like, oh okay,
Yeah.
because I understood things that adults didn't think I understood, but I did.
Yeah.
So
Do you think she carried like an air of superiority about
Yes.
her? Yeah.
I had that in high school too.
Do you think
I
that's
had a
what
little
you
bit of
were relating with her with?
Yeah, yeah, she had like, that's why I liked her. Like I saw myself in her. That's why I liked her so much.
Like she saw things that other people didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she saw through a lot of the superficial stuff, and I did too. But yeah, like Daria was but to answer your question, sorry to go off a tangent, but I really love Daria. How do I look back at my high school? I mean, I didn't enjoy high school. I thought like I said, I had like existential crisis, and I was like, what is this point of high school? They're just training us to think this way. Like they're training us like,
Damn, I can't
remember
believe you had that type of like thought process in high school, man.
Yeah, like you were aware that you were part of the system.
Yeah, I was aware that it was just churning me out. Like I was following a narrative of I have to go to college and, to get a job and blah, 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 blah. And I remember I hated U.S. history. I hated
Really?
U.S. history. I did it. I was like, because I didn't understand the concept of nationalism. I didn't get it. I was like, why are we just focusing on this country? Like, the world's so big. Why? Like, and I hated how they didn't talk about stuff that I knew. I knew about the Japanese internment stuff.
Oh, really?
And we didn't talk anything about it. I was like, oh, like, and we didn't talk about like the native genocide and stuff. And I was like, what about all this? So I was aware of that in high school, which is why I hated it, because I hated the narrative that they were feeding me.
They were leaving out stories that you knew that they shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Do they still do that kind of stuff now, or because all that information is out there?
So you have to think about who's writing these history textbooks.
I don't know.
And like who's buying them, and like
It's probably a white
it's
guy.
already a system in place, and it's probably a white guy at the top that's writing the books. So you kind of
Also, you have to think about it as a business, right? How long have we, like, it's been a while since we've been in high school, right? And people are still working at uncovering a lot of history and stuff, so things have changed, right?
Yeah.
But the books they haven't been updated.
Are you
because
sure?
controversial
Like,
books aren't gonna sell in public
Yeah.
schools.
So like, why it's a business. Like, if this gonna invalidate someone's theory of something, or the way that it's always been taught, you have to change everything. They're not going to go for it because it's going to cost too much money. They're going to lose money. Also, they want to keep people thinking this way to keep them in the system.
Whoever's on top wants to stay on top, so they're gonna do everything to maintain the status quo.
Yeah. And I mean, I remember in high school, I realized pharmaceutical companies were doing this too. They were like, they weren't peddling out they weren't getting rid of the root problem. They were just using something to alleviate the symptoms, but keeping you hooked on the drugs, right? So I knew, I was aware of this in high school, and I was just like super aware of how the world was working, I guess.
Would you say you were angry?
I remember in high school, I was very like political. I cared about a lot of politics and world news. I remember, my brother probably will vouch for this, but I used to listen to BBC a lot just to get like a world, because I didn't want to watch media from home, because I was like, this is very skewed.
Yeah.
I want like non-biased news. So
Quote,
I went to like BBC and stuff.
Yeah. Dang. Yeah. You sound like a very intelligent guy, man.
And then you meet me. And then you meet me, right?
Yeah.
You start talking, and it's like, man,
Yeah.
this guy is talking about ghosts now.
Yeah. Nah.
What's your favorite
Yeah.
ghost you met?
I've never met a ghost.
Yeah.
My favorite one is Casper.
He's the
What's your
friendliest.
favorite ghost you experienced?
I don't know if I've experienced. I feel like I've experienced ghosts before. I don't have a favorite one, but I do believe in ghosts. I believe in spirits and stuff. Yeah.
Aton, dude, I had a dream last night that there was a ghost in the house.
I think there's a ghost
Okay.
on your property. I don't think it's in the house. I think it's on the property.
Okay.
Because Chance will bark randomly
Yeah.
down that hall.
Okay, so in the dream, right? I'm sleeping on the couch, and then like this cup started like kind of spinning on the floor towards me, right?
I'm getting chills right now.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, so then like it fucking goes behind the couch, and then fucking I hear my bedroom door slam, and that's where Sabrina is. And then the dream, I'm in paralysis. I couldn't get up. I couldn't fight
no.
it, right?
Uh-huh.
So something was going on
Yeah.
because I was like hearing something. And then I finally I can get up and run to the door. I couldn't open the door. I was fucking slamming it. Like, oh, are
Yeah.
you in there? Sabrina. And then like I get in there and she's like, fine. But then we started like hearing stuff down the hallway. And I was like, something's...
Wait, is this still in your dream?
This is in
or
the dream.
like- okay, so you woke up in your
Yeah.
dream. You had a dream within a dream. Those are crazy. Yeah.
Oh, I hate those.
And then I was explaining the dream to Sabrina.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
In the dream, dude.
Oh,
And
wow.
And then like we just started hearing stuff like downstairs. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And then nothing really happened from there. But the scary part was like I was watching like objects move around me. I was like couldn't move. I was paralyzed. And I was just sleeping on the couch. And then like I woke up finally because I think I had like slight sleep paralysis, and I thought I was about to wake up on the couch, right? I thought I was like, when I woke up, I thought I was gonna go on the couch and go back into the room. When I woke up, I was already in the room. So it was like a weird
Deja vu.
it was weird. Like I
Wow.
don't know, it's kind of scary.
What do you think that means?
I don't know.
So you would think it was...
I mean, Aton, what do you think it means? Fucking shaman? No.
It could be. So I have experienced a dream within a dream, and it has been a ghost. Like it was a ghost story, and like I remember I was sleeping, and then I had a dream about a ghost, and I woke up, but I wasn't in this life. I was in a different life. I think I was a white person. I had a white family.
What the
But I remember
fuck?
like I was telling my family.
This is a
that
horror
I was in-
story. It's like-
I was in like an Airbnb. Is it a horror story? Yeah, it is. And then like I remember just telling them this, and we had to leave because the place is obviously haunted. But that was a dream, and I woke up from that, and I was like, oh. So I don't know.
Yeah, it was weird because I remember asking Sabrina, I was like, remember when I was telling you about that dream yesterday? And she's like, no, what are you talking about? I was like, oh shit, that was a dream.
Damn.
That was a dream when I was telling her about a dream. So it was fucking weird. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had Inception like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same.
yeah.
Like it's only been with like involving a ghost dream.
Yeah,
So
that's weird.
Maybe it really was a ghost. I felt something when I was at your property. So
I mean,
but
good or bad?
I don't think it's harmful. I think it's just there.
Okay. Like you don't think it will harm my baby?
I think it's a man. I feel like it's a man too.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't believe in ghosts though. I don't know though.
You don't know what you believe
Yeah.
anymore.
I don't know. I felt like I've been.
Well, interestingly, right? You had this dream after your third eye opened from the float tank too.
Is that true? Is it?
Yeah, this was after. Yeah, this
Yeah.
was a couple nights ago. I had this dream.
Yeah, because your eyes open, so you're more when it's open, you can sense like spirits and stuff better.
I was looking stuff up about this third eye opening, like when you see purple. I also read that when you see purple, there's something wrong, like blocking your third eye or something like that. There's something off balance, and that's why you're seeing it. Do you know anything about that, Aton?
It could. I mean, it's you really have to. This is hard. See, like there's no rules to this. It's more like you have to go into yourself and figure out because everyone has different things, right? But because the purple is the color of the third eye, so because it came to you, it's trying to point like something is pointing you to your third eye.
Yeah.
Either it's like overactive, underactive, or you need to discover it. So something is telling you to look that way. So it could be blocked. It could just be it's initiating you to your third eye. It really depends on what do you resonate with it being blocked? Is that how you feel? What do you
I don't know.
think it is?
I don't know what it is. I just know I was probably in deep meditation, the deepest I've been in ever.
Yeah.
You want
Like-
to do that again, right?
Yeah, and I want to do that again. I think that was such a good experience because I felt like clear for a second. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That day.
Do you think you lost it? The clearness.
Maybe.
Yeah.
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 I need to do
It's
it again. I've lost
it's
it.
the practice you have to keep up, which is tough.
Yeah, especially what's going on all around. But man, I wish it was
Yeah.
like way cheaper. I wish it was like if it was like $100 a month, I think I'd do it.
Wish you could just do it in your bathtub.
Yeah,
Yeah. One day I'll buy you a float tank food.
it's like $25,000. It's like a car.
Yeah, don't worry.
Alright.
I can get there.
Nice, cool.
Can't just fill a pool with salt water.
Yeah, but you gotta get all the stuff to get it to the right temperature.
Get a sous vide.
Yeah, so get a
A
soup.
couple sous vides. Like maybe 4 at each corner.
Yeah.
Sous vides.
Yeah.
73 degrees.
Yeah, that'd be too loud though. It wouldn't work.
No, but we have earplugs.
So you have earplugs.
Oh yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
I don't think that would work, dude. Good idea. Okay.
If we really need to.
Yeah, some sous vide and salt.
Yeah.
That'd be we open up our own float tank place. Like welcome, right? Welcome to our float
sous
tank.
vide's still warming
Here,
up.
yeah.
We
There's like 10
while you're meditating, we'll also cook you some steaks, in there. Just put it in there with you.
Yeah.
2 for 1.
That's so funny. Oh yeah, definitely gotta do it again. Yeah, I think that's what I read also, Aton, about it kind of pointing you to something. Something might be off, but
Mm-hmm.
But that was just one person saying it, like one article I read. Everything else, and I've read like other people who done float tanks that had the same experience. I read some stuff on Reddit, and then there people were like, "Whoa, dude, that's like you're opening your third eye." They said the same thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's
just be more connected to it.
I know that's so.
Just pay attention to
That's
it
so
now.
crazy. Were you kind of shocked when I was telling the story? When I was just like,
No, I was happy for you.
really?
I was like, yeah, he's opening up to his abilities.
I was like, because I never seen. It was like weird seeing purple, right? That's like,
And it was an eye.
yeah,
It was a literal
yeah, it was
eye.
a literal eye. I was like, man, that's weird. And I was like, this is cool.
It's cool. Yeah, it's like a
It was
superpower.
a
Like,
it was like visual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
You feel so good afterwards.
Yeah.
Is I think the main takeaway.
Mm-hmm. I felt good. I was happy.
Yeah. So Aton, let's get back to you.
Yeah.
What's your you're really into like treat yourself, self-care Sunday. So what's your self-care Sunday look like?
Hang out with my Saeb Boys.
Yeah.
Listen to the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Besides the Saeb Boys.
Why can't it be self-care Saturday?
Yeah, it could be self-care Saturday.
I mean, I have a practice. I like to meditate. I like to clear my energy. I do that either with smudging or taking a salt bath.
What's smudging? Sounds
when
sexual.
you burn sage.
Oh.
When you burn sage.
Oh, okay.
So you like bathe space or objects
Oh.
in smoke. That's what smudging is.
Oh.
What-
Weird.
Do that.
Yeah.
I also enjoy like sound baths. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever go to the spa, like get a massage? Is it all very spiritual things?
Yeah, I'm not a massage person. I think it's because I don't like people touching me.
Oh,
Like you'll, especially when you open your third eye, you kind of start to see energy. You see and feel energy, right? And when people touch you, you can kind of like pick up on stuff. So like you don't really like that. So it's kind of hard to turn off sometimes.
yeah. Sorry. Sorry. Keep going. I'm fixing the camera.
Well, make a little note. We got to edit this part. What was I saying? I don't really like. Yeah, I don't do like massages too much. Yeah, I guess I do more. More of my stuff is more spiritual self care. I guess I do yoga. It does help me. I do hot yoga, so it's a good way to get me sweating. But yeah, hikes, being in nature is a good self-care thing because it's just good for your. So it's good for your energy. It's good for your third eye. They also say fresh spring water is good for your third eye. It helps like energize it.
Fresh spring
So
water.
like if you
Like
yeah, you
Arrowhead?
get like water. No, like get like water from a stream that's running,
Oh,
right?
word?
Clear water. It's good for your third eye. There's some herbs that are good for your third eye and strengthening it,
Wow.
right? Like hirataki powder is good for your third eye. They also say like to not do fluoride. That's bad for your third eye. It calcifies it. That's the thing.
What?
You know how they add
and
fluoride?
toothpaste and
Yeah.
water.
Water.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
So like I think it's mainly the water part that's bad for you because you're ingesting it, and we don't need all that fluoride all the time. So it's the theory is it's another way to keep people asleep.
It clogs your brain. Makes you
Is that-
easy to control.
Is there fluoride
Yeah.
when you have that water filter? Is there still fluoride in that?
That one?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I got it to remove the fluoride, but the filters probably need to be changed. They're kind of old.
Yeah. I don't want to block. my
I mean,
third eye.
fluoride's good for your teeth.
Yeah. I mean, I'll use it to brush.
It is good for your
I use it
teeth.
to brush my teeth, but
Yeah,
I don't want to block my
But-
third eye.
Yeah, you can
I
just
just discovered
meditate.
it, man.
Or you need to fix something about it, apparently.
Yeah. Or something.
Yeah.
But
No, I don't think it's blocked. I think you're discovering because I mean, you did have that ghost ring, right? That's a third eye side, is being more in tune to like spirits and
oh my
stuff.
god.
Spooky. Are you ready for?
No.
No?
That was like a freaky dream. It
Yeah.
was a dream within a dream. I didn't like that.
With great
Yeah.
power comes great responsibility. You can't have it all without the
Yeah.
the side effects, I
I
guess.
guess. Okay, well, fuck.
You have to accept it for what it is pretty much kind of the takeaway you have to go through.
I didn't choose this, man.
You didn't choose this? You really
You don't. I mean, so have you heard of a Kundalini awakening?
No. Sounds delicious.
So there's like different thoughts on a Kundalini awakening. It's basically is a sudden spiritual awakening. Therapists would probably call it a psychosis.
Wha-
It's like you have a break.
Psychosis is
Right.
not a bad
Oh,
as
okay.
bad word as it sounds. It just
Okay.
means you're not having a good experience
Really?
of some sort.
But like, so a Kundalini awakening is because the chakras are aligned to organs, right? And if you look at chakras, there's a snake. There's always a serpent involved along the spine. So there's like a spinal energy that goes through you when you get a Kundalini awakening. And people that have gone through it when they aren't ready, because some people that like try to open their third eye, they want this experience, but like it can like, because you're forcing new energy into your body and your body can adapt to it. It's like oh, you don't watch My Hero Academia, but it's like that concept. Like he has to train his body to accept this power and this energy. It's the same thing with us. Like, so people like that just get Kundalini awakenings, they have like psychosis, they can't move, they're in pain all the time. So like there's a like if you open your third eye gently, it's better. So you don't want to like force it to open. Also, like the problem with focusing too much on your third eye is you forget the other chakras, right? You forget the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, and you can kind of escape too much from this world. You're always in a different dimension. You're hanging too much with the spirits. You're not hanging out with people anymore.
I get that. I call it like, well, for me, I call it like self-help toxicity, where you get too delved into self-help. Sometimes you have this air of superiority that you know better people because you learn things, just because you learn things. Yeah, I get it. And sometimes you get stuck on one idea. You do forget about like other things, like self-care. You know, it can be seen as selfish, like you're taking all this time for yourself, but sometimes you can take too much time and neglect, you know, your other relationships.
You neglect your world duties, your relationships. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. So it's like, you know, it's all a balance with everything in life. That's Buddhism. Like it's about a balance.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize that with like most advice, I try to look at it as like a scale. So I try to look at the other point of view, and then I try to see. So like talking to girls, right? It's either like I think I either have the problem of I'm too passive or I'm too aggressive. So which issue am I having? Like am I not taking the initiative enough, or am I coming off too strong? Because there's great advice for both ends. Like, oh, you just like, it doesn't matter what you say, it's just how you say it. Just go say hi, just take the initiative, just talk about whatever. Or it can be like, oh, you're coming off too strong, like you're getting too deep too quickly, you're trying to like move things too fast. Like, so I've been taking advice, trying to look at the other side and see where I land and what I need to take away. That's how I have been learning to approach things.
Yeah. It makes sense. I mean, like, there's no one size fits all right? We're all different people. We have different needs. So, like, at the end of the day, only you know what's right for you, which is why, like, especially with spirituality, it's a very personal thing. You got to go inside yourself because, like, it's the same with religion. Like, not every religion, the religion will lead you to the same way, but you don't have to, they have different rites and different rituals, right, to get you there. You just have to find the one that works for you. Sometimes you have to make your own, you know, spiritual practice. Sometimes you need the structure of religion. So I know how it's cool to like hate on religion these days, but there is some good that comes out if you like read the text and stuff and filter it through your own intuition and your own belief system and incorporate it that way instead of like believing everything that once you start taking, words that people tell you as like the end all be all, that's when it's a problem because you're not thinking for yourself. You're not going inside to see what works for you as an individual, right?
Yeah, that was always my issue with organized religion. It's taking text and having someone else's interpretation be the rules.
Gospel?
Yeah, the gospel.
Yeah.
Because like, if you just think about it, like, these texts are getting translated, retranslated over hundreds of years. Like what people say it is now can't be what it was intended for. And it needs to be, and that's why I'm like a quote man of science, is because science gets updated with like new facts and information. Whereas religion, it's still the same. Sometimes. It's still the same thing. It's like, we learn new information, but like we don't update the religion about it. It just doesn't make sense.
It depends. Like you can look at Buddhism as an update of Hinduism, right? Like it got rid of a lot of, because the Buddha was raised Hindu. He grew up in a Hindu culture. What he didn't like was the animal sacrifice and all this stuff of like, you know, astrology and not thinking with rationally, which is why he didn't set, I don't think he set out to make a religion. It was just what happened because he got enlightened, right? So it's like similar to that was with, and like, and the same with Buddhism is like, there's also different styles of Buddhism that kind of get incorporated to the culture and to the people that have been established there. So it's really, you know, religion does get updated. There is updates to it. It's just, I don't think we have updated modernly. And another point is, if you think about the Christianity, right, there are books that get left out that aren't part of the Bible.
Yeah.
Like who is choosing what gets included and what doesn't get included, right? Because there's a bunch of gospels that don't get mentioned that were left out.
Exactly. That's why, I don't know, like growing up with Buddhist parents, I've always struggled with that because it didn't fit in with fitting in school. It wasn't the religion other kids had. So I kind of never embraced it, but like rediscovering, I guess the teachings. I guess what I like about it the most is the ability to pick and choose what you believe in. Because like when I try to explain Buddhism, people, I say it's a more of a way of life than an actual religion for me. Like I get to pick and choose like what I believe it means to be like live a good life. And the Buddha teaches you that, like, just do things because you believe it's true, not because I said it. And that's kind of how I approach things. Like I even borrow things from other religion and try to incorporate in my life, not just like Buddhist teachings too.
Yeah, same. I mean, that's why like spirituality is a very personal thing. You have to kind of take what works for you, you know? Like that's why some people don't. I mean, there are people that work well with like boundaries and with structure, right? So, but some people you just got to build up your own and it's okay.
Yeah.
Everything's good.
Yeah. How do you think like the world is shifting around that? Like this interpersonal journey, like this self-actualization, like this being the it girl.
I think there has been an uptick of interest in spirituality, which is good, but I don't think a lot of what I've seen and what I've felt is a lot of people don't really dive deeply with it. They just kind of use it as a cool thing to have a Buddha or to be into crystals, but they don't really know the purpose or they don't know the root theories of it. Like why do crystals work?
Yeah.
It's because everything's connected, right? It's because it's Earth's form of technology if you look at it that way. It's because crystals are stable in energy and they're able to hold a certain frequency which you can attune to. It's there to help you attune to it. It's not that the crystal's doing the work, right? It's that you are borrowing its power and you're learning to integrate it into your life. I don't think people look at it that way. People kind of look at it as a cure-all, like, I got this crystal, it's going to work this way. But with everything, it's spirituality, you have to put in the work yourself. It's like, it's really up to what you do and what you put in, your intention.
So what I'm hearing is like you kind of see as spirituality becomes more adopted by like the mass public, people are trying to treat it more like magic.
I mean, yes, but does magic exist? It depends on how you define magic,
That is true.
right? I think magic exists. I think miracles exist. I think we just have to redefine what it means, right? I think a flower blossoming is magic. Like how does that work? I don't fully know, but it's cool, right? It's a beautiful thing. So and chemistry is just like modern magic. Like when we put chemicals together and a reaction happens.
Yeah.
That's just us looking at it through that lens. So I do think that magic is in the world. I just don't think people see it that way. And I think we lost it, right? What makes the soul spark? That's magic, right? What makes us alive? What makes us conscious? I don't know. It's
Where's
magic.
that voice in your head coming from? Like, what part of your body is that voice that talks to you? Where's that live?
In your brain?
In your brain?
Yeah.
I think it lives in. Well, it depends on where you think your soul sits, right? Some people think that it sits in the pineal gland, which is your third eye. Some people think it's in your heart. Yeah, the seat of the soul. Some people think that the Egyptians worshipped the pineal gland.
Where's that at?
That's why it's
Wait, here?
Really?
It's yeah, it's like next to your pituitary gland, I believe. Science doesn't know much about it. The purpose of it, they don't know.
Really?
There's not a lot of research on it. Yeah,
How come?
The brain is
It's-
a big
the brain
mystery.
is something we don't really know that much about. Yeah, it's a big mystery. Also, like the things that the pineal gland does, how can you measure it with science? Like, how can you measure spirits and energy with science, right? It's like something that our tools aren't equipped to research yet. So, like, that's why there's no research of it.
I think it's amazing that we know that our brains are just a bunch of electrodes firing, like neurons firing electrodes,
Yeah.
right? But we don't, but like all of our thinking is just a bunch of little electric sparks going off in our heads. That's all it is. That's at least in a physical sense. That's all it is. But like where's that voice in my head coming from? And where's that thought of me perceiving it? Like, what sparks are doing that? Right?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, science hasn't figured that out. We haven't figured out consciousness, right? That's still something we haven't figured out.
Do you
Well-
think the answer lives in another world that we might not even be able to measure?
So what I've learned as I've gotten older is that we're multidimensional beings. We have different facets to us, right? We also operate in different dimensions. We operate in this dimension. We also can like leave this dimension and operate in different ones at the same time. They're all what the biggest thing from the spirituality is like time is not linear. That's a very scientific Western way of thinking. It's very linear. There's a point A and a point B, and you're just moving to point B.
That's
right?
the only way
But-
we as humans can experience time. Yeah.
But if you go back to our ancestors, in some traditions they don't see time as linear. They see time as cyclical. Especially like Hinduism and Buddhism is a very cyclical thing. Like things repeat itself. There's trends. The world gets destroyed and gets reborn again. It's just there's it's the way of life. It's the way we're supposed to go. We're supposed to go this way. In Hinduism, they believe we're in the Kali Yuga, which is the end time. So the world's gonna be destroyed soon, which you can see. They have science, right? And it parallels the apocalypse in biblical times. So there's a lot of like, this is why I think like religion is super fascinating, because there's a lot of like stories that overlap and are very similar. In Hinduism, they believe there's going to be Kalki, which is another manifestation of the god Vishnu coming to signal in the end of the dark times in the new age.
Yeah.
Same with like Jesus coming and saving people with the second coming of Jesus. They, in both traditions and in different cultures, there's a great flood that's happened, and there's always like a man or a couple of people that get saved with animals. So I think myths have a lot to do with us. We're creatures of myth, and they hold a special place for us, and they hold a special story for us that we don't really take into consideration in our modern day living, right?
Yeah, you're saying like myths of the old times, like legends, like they have a lesson to be taught that humans aren't listening to anymore.
Yeah. So like myths are complicated. Like are they real?
Yeah,
Are they allegorical? Allegorical. I think it's a little bit of both. Like I think so there's one thought that will argue that the gods are actually just aliens or a more advanced race. They could be from the future, they could be alien, but there's just something that us as humans, when we see something more powerful or greater than us, we start to worship it, right? Look at our celebrities. We start to worship them. Our politicians, our Elon Musk, we start to worship them until they start doing crazy things. So we have this tendency of worshiping, right? But like I've been saying, you just got to go back to yourself. You have to sit with what feels true for you, and you have to make sure it's not coming from an egoic or a societal conditioning place.
Yeah. It's crazy, huh?
Is this all too
Yeah,
much?
it's a little too much, man. But you know, do you, dude? How do you get all this information, Aton?
You read, you expose yourself to it, you start to ask questions. The biggest thing is asking questions, right? And if you go through like therapy, they'll start teaching you how to do compassionate inquiry, which is like, oh, I'm doing this thing. Where is this coming from? Why is this coming up this way?
What has been your biggest takeaway from therapy?
Is I'm a lot like my mother in a lot of regards. I've also a generational trauma, like I'm repeating cycles of it. Also, I think the biggest thing is, so our parents are refugees, right? So they have a unique experience of coming to this country. Our mom lost a child, and my therapist actually pointed this out is because I was pregnant and I was born in a refugee camp, I have a lot of stress hormones in me growing up, which is probably why I have these invasive, like violent thoughts sometimes of things going wrong. It's probably because that's my baseline because of how I was in utero. And it's so crazy how much like your environment will shape who you are, right? Especially like in pregnancy. It's like, if you're fed a lot of stress hormones, you're going to probably be an anxious person. It's just a way to cope through the world because you can't. So in therapy, we talked about my mom and how she had a harsh upbringing in us, and she didn't say a lot of nice things growing up. And it makes sense because of her life, right? It's that she was an orphan. She lost a child. She was fleeing the country. She had no control of her reality. And the only time that she was able to allow to vent her frustrations and the unfairness of the world was at us, at the kids, you know. She didn't know better. So I started to understand that better.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, that's hard. Did you
think this way, Sandona?
No, it's something I've come to realize recently speaking with my brother. But yeah, my mom had a tough life, and I remember my brother and my mom being at odds.
We always argued.
Yeah, and that so like the way my takeaway from that was to try to be more patient with my mom, seeing how short fused my brother was, or at least that was my interpretation. So I try to be more patient with her, but I get how she's very controlling. She does have a lot of trauma, like what my brother mentioned. But like even after coming here, our place got broken into a lot in Seattle. Like our TV got stolen, our car got broken into a lot. So she has a lot of trust issues of the world to begin with, and because of that, we grew up very like in a very strict household. We couldn't really do anything, and I get my mom trying to protect us. I get where she's coming from. I know. I just wish she, like, even now she lives in like a 5-mile radius of home, and I just wish she would not be so scared of the world and like live it more.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have the easiest relationship with my mom because I think I was also a strong personality and I was my own person. I wasn't going to like go along with everything she
You wanted
said.
to be very independent at a very early age.
Yeah, because like from my point of view, like nobody got me,
Yeah.
right? I saw things that people didn't see or understood. I also understood that the world was big, and I remember trying to convince my dad to send me to a boarding school in Thailand because I wanted to just like not be in America. I wanted to be out of the country. I wanted to experience like the world. Obviously that didn't work out, and like I get it, like a kid trying to tell you that they want to leave the country.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like I was a really weird and troublesome child. I know I think I was too smart for my own good. Like I knew too much that I don't think I was supposed to know.
It happens. It happens though. Like once you can say this about anyone, like once you have like a truth that you're striving towards, like that you know is to be true, like you're not gonna let anything stop you from getting there. It's like I don't know. So I get it. Like if you know that something's true and the whole world is telling you it's not, like it's hard to grapple with. It's hard to grapple with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. What are your plans? Let me ask you this. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Where do I see myself in 5 years? I see myself having a show, a TV show that I'm probably show running. I would like to have like a production company. I also want to have a house in LA and New York and somewhere abroad.
Ooh.
I don't know if that's in 5 years, but that's one of the goals. I mean, this is all I'm in the process of making a vision board. And one of the things I learned about vision boarding and manifestation is, and this is the thing that people don't emphasize enough, is specificity. You have to be super duper specific. You can't just be like, I want health and I want money. But like, I went to a psychic and this is the advice she gave me. She said, you know, when you're manifesting, you don't go to a restaurant and say, I'm hungry, I want food. Like, what does the waiter do with that, right? You tell them, I want this order. And then they go and tell the kitchen, and you know, you have faith that it's coming, right? You don't question, where's the food? You know it's going to come. That's how manifestation is supposed to be. Like, you're supposed to be very specific. So if you want to make a certain amount of money, you have to do what you think you can achieve. So it's also about like your self-worth and how much you think you're able to generate, and also like having a number. Like, I want to make $2,500 a month this year. You know, like that's a hard number that you can work to. Like if you have open-ended goals, they don't get you anywhere. You need like specific checkpoints to get you there, right? So I feel like, especially with the younger generation, because they're so nihilistic, there's no clarity in where they're going, and they just kind of float around in life. And when you do that, life will just give you random things to see what you like. And if you don't like, you won't know it until you try it, right? But if you do know what you want, go for it. You know, like try hard at your goals and your manifestation stuff. The other thing, especially with manifestation, is energy. Sometimes you think you want money, right?
Yeah.
But are you comfortable in spaces that take a lot of money? Are you comfortable in an expensive hotel? Do you know how to act around rich people? If you're not there, then you're not going to get it. Like, you have to be ready for that level, right? So it's about being specific and about sitting in the discomfort of it. If you're able to sit with the discomfort of it.
Yeah. The waiter's the universe, by the way. If you couldn't catch that, you're asking the universe you're telling the universe your order, which is the waiter, and you have to be patient sometimes.
So with spirituality and Taoism and Buddhism, get this really right, is there's this concept called Wu Wei in Taoism. It's the act of not acting. So you have to act like that person that you're manifesting into, right? But you also have to act like it doesn't matter. It's a little bit of both. Like, you have to want it but not want it at the same time. It's a weird balance you got to do, going back to balance, which is just life, right? It's all about balance. But because you have to step into the mask of, let's say I want to be Brad Pitt, right? I have to act like, how would Brad Pitt act right now? You got to step into that energy. But you also have to, like, you have to be specific, right? You know that it's Brad Pitt that you want to be. So you have that vision. You have to act like him. You have to sit with his energy. So it's all about just like, it's really hard and nuanced. Like you gotta want something, but not want it at the same time, because at the end of the day, if it's meant for you, it's going to happen, right? So you don't have to worry about it. But you also have to step into that role of that person that gets it. You know what I mean? Like if you want to be a successful businessman, you have to act like a successful businessman.
I struggle with that because of, I can try to think my way into that headspace. I think my issue is I lack the action part of acting like it. Like I can think like that for a little while, but if I don't find something that reflects that in my actions, it just doesn't stick. And I think that's usually my problem.
That's why. Exactly. You have to act like that person. It's making the actions. Right? Like if you want to be an entrepreneur and make like $100K a year, right? How does that look to you? What does that person look like to you? Are you doing the things that person would be doing right now to get you there? If you're not, then you need to reevaluate some things you're doing, some things in life, and maybe who you want to be. But it's so one of the biggest spiritual lessons I've learned, and I learned this on acid, on an acid trip, of course, is we're pretty much all actors. We all have masks in this world, right? Because when I had this trip, I saw a bunch of cameras around me, and I saw that I was an actor, and like it was like a sound studio, and that's what I felt like real life was. And I noticed that my interactions with some people were other actors, and they're like, okay, so they were kind of waiting for me to see what the scene was about. Like, where are you taking the scene? Like, are we gonna have an argument? Or are we gonna be working? Like, we have full control of who our roles are, or who our avatars are in this movie, in this video game, whatever you want to look at it. Like, right? You just have to figure out who you are, who you want to be, and step into that energy.
So I'm going to pivot, but I'm going to segue. So you mentioned, acting. Pretty much my takeaway is like, you should just be the person you want to be. If like you think about the person that you want to become, like, are you doing what they're doing, or are you doing things that they wouldn't be doing? And you need to reevaluate, like, oh, is this person gonna be watching Netflix for like 6 hours just smoking hot and getting high, or are they gonna be going outside and doing yoga or something? That's the way I try to approach it. But you mentioned that you should just be who you want to become. I always found that easier changing cities. Now you've lived in a lot of different cities. What's your highlight? You've lived quite a few places.
Yeah, I grew up in the Seattle area, Seattle Tri-Cities. Right now I'm in LA. I lived most of my adult life in New York, Brooklyn. I spent some time in Spain and China. But yeah, it was, I've always had this from a young age. I've always been interested in different cultures, in different religions. I had a period in high school where I got really into Islam, and I actually thought about converting for a while. So it's just, I don't know. I just felt drawn to certain places and certain times. I went to an astrologer one time, and they said that for me, I get recharged when I'm traveling, right? I get something when I'm in a different environment and when I'm in different cities and stuff. When I was in Spain, and this helped me empathize with my parents' struggle, was when I was in Spain, because my Spanish, I was like learning Spanish, everyone was speaking Spanish, and I was having some trouble like communicating, and people were just very patient and understanding with me, and I understood what my parents had to go through from that experience. Like, oh, they moved here with not knowing a lot of English and struggling, right? So it's like, it made me empathize for their experience and how they operate more from that experience, because I was like, wow, it's hard to learn English. Like, it's hard to learn Spanish. It's hard to just like have to switch your brain from thinking in one language to another all the time.
And they didn't have a choice. They had to learn to adapt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like you,
And
you were
this
just
is-
there for now.
It's also, I don't think people realize this, but there's a privilege to being fluent in English. There's a power dynamic when it comes to it. And it's like, because most of the world operates in English now, right? So being American, having fluency in English, we are at an advantage pretty much anywhere. Like, we don't really need to learn a lot of different languages, because most people will probably know English, right?
The other parts of the world will usually accommodate to English.
Yeah. And they
Yeah.
want to, like, especially young people, they want to speak English with you. So it's like we have a different like hardship that we have to go through, and it's more privileged, and I understood that too.
Yeah.
Does it make you appreciate your parents more?
Of course, yeah, they had a hard life, and I understand it. I don't agree with everything they do still, but yeah, I empathize with them more.
Yeah. Do you I'm gonna go back to, like, you move around a lot. Do you ever just
Yes.
reinvent yourself every time you move?
It's interesting. I don't know if it's reinvention or if I'm taking on the energy of the place. Because I kind of, being like energy sensitive, you kind of can feel energy and kind of pick up on it. Also, there's a theory in astrology called astrocartography, which is different planets have an effect on different cities according to your chart. So in like a certain place, you'll get more of a Martian energy. Your Martian side will come out, or your Venusian side will come out. So I don't know if it's me reinventing or me just honing into that energy and just going with that more. I don't know if that
Which
answers your
city
question.
has your favorite type of energy?
Spain. I really liked Spain.
Yeah, what about Spain's energy?
It was just like a beautiful country. Spanish is a beautiful language. I think everyone should learn a different language. It changes the way you think. 'Cause in Spanish, like, there's different conjugations for a past tense. There's different types of past tense, right? So it makes you think of the past differently. Versus in English, we just have one tense for the past, right? So different languages force you to think in a different way. Like in Asian language, you think about your status compared to another person, right? So like status is an important thing in Asia. Versus in English, we don't really have that. We kind of have like a formal language, especially in America. We have business talk, but we're not like England where they have like rules when you talk to royalty. So yeah, like learning a language is like really important to changing your operating system of your brain.
What was your favorite language to learn?
I liked learning Spanish because it was like, I liked how it was like rooted in Latin.
Can you show off some Spanish?
It's really bad.
Hola. You went to hola. Oh my gosh.
Hola.
You
¿Qué pasó?
went to hola.
Entiendo español un poquito.
Wow, what does that mean?
He understands a little.
Understand
Oh.
Spanish, yeah.
Does that work?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm pretty like all right in Spanish.
You think you could do a lot better than?
Yeah,
Yeah. I would.
Wow.
because
Very
I
good.
had to use it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In your relationship or at work?
at work.
Oh.
Well, I've been in the industry for so long.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of
What do you say a lot?
I don't know, rapido, por favor. Just
Rápido, por favor.
no. I can.
This is all, Smash is also fun because you get to roll your R's. I love like rolling the
I
trills.
I can't.
Yeah, you can.
Not like I can do it alone. I can't make it connect to words, I guess.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Can you do chili oreño?
What? What'd you say?
Chili oreño.
Chitty, areno.
Almost. Yeah, you kind of rolled your R's there.
Yeah, you got just. It's just practice. It's really just practice.
Wow.
Yeah, I just need a practice.
I never knew you went to Spain, Aton. Did you?
I
run with the
went-
Bulls?
No, I was based in Madrid.
To Madrid.
So, Madrid's the capital of
Whoa.
Spain. It's in the center of Spain. They chose it because it was like in the center. They wanted it to be regionally close to all the big cities. The thing about Spain is that people don't realize that there's a lot of there's a lot of dialects too. Like Spanish in Spain, it was called Castellano because it's the Castilian language, which is the Madrid region, right? Like in Barcelona, they have Catalan that they speak. They have Galicia in like the northern part of Spain, which is like, so there's a lot of different regional stuff. And Spain has a really interesting history because it was used to be a Muslim country
word?
back in the day. Yeah, it was because the Moors had invaded Europe, and there was this movement for Reconquista to get Spain back to a Christian kingdom. But there was like different kingdoms in Spain, and they're united. They're kind of like the UK, where there's different kingdoms in the UK, right? But they're kind of united now. But yeah, Spain is cool. I think because I've always enjoyed history, and there's like fascinating history in
Was there
Europe.
good food there?
Yeah, you would like it. It's very meat and wine. Very meat and wine.
Were
And
you a vegetarian at the time?
I was pescatarian at the time, so I would have like
okay.
fish,
Cool.
which is they have a lot of good seafood there. We should do a trip to Spain. I would love to go back.
Do you think we can?
I went to a couple of
do
the
you think we
cities.
can do a trip by 10 years?
Yeah. I think we could do one in
Yeah.
5.
Cool. I want to go Southeast Asia tour first.
Yeah, I want to do that
Yeah.
too.
I wanna be a grown man out in those streets.
Everyone wants me to go to Thailand with them because I know Thai,
Yeah, that's why I want to.
but my Thai's not even that good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was just gonna speak English everywhere I went.
Really?
Yeah.
You can speak Lao, though.
Well, my Laos is
know.
atrocious, so I don't think I'll do that.
Oh my God.
I mean, we should definitely travel the world. I mean, that's where I want to take Sabrina eventually. To
The world.
Yeah.
You want to take her to the world?
a whole new world.
Okay, Pete Davidson. All right.
Oh, Pete.
Ski.
This neat. But ski.
Yeah, I
Is that
want.
what Kanye called him?
Ski.
Yes,
Is Kanye still canceled, by the way?
Yes.
I guess I don't know. I haven't
Yeah.
been keeping up with.
I think he's
Kanye
been laying
news.
low.
I've
I
been-
haven't heard much about him, so that's good news.
The news cycle is dominated by the Meghan and Harry stuff. Honestly.
Well, how's life out there in LA? I mean, you moved there for a reason. Are you
Yeah.
Are you working towards that reason? I mean, is things happening, man?
I'm looking at taking another writing class soon. But I did apply to a fellowship in November, and I should hear back in February, the latest, because it starts in March if I get accepted into it, which
What's
I
a
don't know.
fellowship? Like the
I don't want
fellowship
to.
of the
I don't
ring?
want to.
What?
No, so for like writing, it's hard to break into the industry, right? And they know that, so they create these fellowships to get to discover new writers. The one that I applied to was an Asian Pacific Islander, one called Cape. And I had to write a pilot, or I had to submit an original pilot, which I rewrote one that I wrote in class, and it's about late bloomers rediscovering their passion in their 30s and trying to pursue it.
Yeah, I know about that one.
So
What about the film we're working
Yeah.
on?
That's on my list. I'll get to that.
Alright, just let me know, because
Saeb Life
yeah,
production.
you gotta get that. Can you imagine? I feel like, oh man, if it was like filmed like Crazy Rich Asians or something,
Yeah.
you know, but not as lavish because it's in Vietnam. Do you know what I mean?
No, we can like Vietnam
It's
is
in Vietnam.
economically growing.
Vietnam's
Yeah,
But
getting
where was
ritzy.
Crazy Rich Asians?
Singapore.
Singapore and Vietnam. Come on, man. Singapore looks.
Well, Singapore's
Singapore's way
different. I
nicer
mean,
looking.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying. That's the
Well, there-
no, but I'm saying that's the cool part about it, right? Because it's like lavish, but it's Vietnamese lavish.
well, we have to go to Thailand because like weed's legal there. So
Oh yeah,
Oh,
check it
yeah.
out.
that's gonna be
bet you it's
cool.
not as good.
There's a lot of white.
I don't know.
There's a lot
I
of
mean,
white people and
we-
Europeans going over there to like set up shop.
Oh word.
I mean, honestly, marijuana has been in the region forever. It's been used forever culturally, especially in like the northeastern part, which is the Lao part, right? It's very it was used a lot, and it was just stigmatized when Thailand started becoming Western, right? It was because like the influence of the West that they started to criminalize drug trade and stuff. But there's a long history of it used in the culture.
Yeah, it's all good now. People just need to. The world just needs to grow and focus on bigger issues. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, people in power, they want to hold on to that power.
Yeah. Well, I guess we should wrap this up, guys. What are your takeaways, Aton? What was your expectations going into this?
My takeaways is I felt like this may have been a little too up there conceptually for you too. Like maybe some of the things I talked about were a little too out there, but it's the stuff that has shaped my reality and how I operate in life now.
Do you feel like our listeners learned a lot about who you are and your worldview?
I think they learned a facet of me because there's a bunch of layers to me. I'm not just like one thing, right? We're all not just one thing. This is one side. There's a side of me that really is into like ratchet R&B music. There's a side of me that's into like K-pop. There's a side of me that also like enjoys classical music. So there's
we didn't even get into relationships yet, so we'll save that for next time.
I really wanted to take a dive into your dark side, but
you're very
you didn't ask. We'll save that for part
there'll
two.
be a part 2. You're a very complicated and deep person. Do you want to do this again maybe?
Do I have a choice? I'm kind of part of this podcast now.
Yeah.
Well, I had a great experience. I think I learned a lot from you. A clear sense of the way you approach things in life, your kind of headspace, where your priorities are. Yeah. I hope you feel like you got a chance to have your voice heard.
I do. I feel good. I feel that I got to share a part of my voice. My voice is pretty big. I have a pretty big, complicated voice. So there's only one part I was able to share.
This is your
your
business side, right? You're not like you have like a wild ratchet side that's loud and I can't.
No, this is not my business side. I don't talk about this on the business. This is like my business side is more.
This is definitely more tame side. I've seen you act out.
Yeah, me too.
Wow, I'm not a city girl. Okay.
Yeah.
I wish you were.
So hopefully we'll see that side. Hopefully we'll see that next time. Why don't you close it off, Aton?
Thank you for joining us for another great special episode of Saeb Life. You can catch us here every 2 weeks on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for joining us.